Hi YouTube, I hope you're doing good. I'm doing fine. I'm gonna try and explain a little bit of the chemistry behind the term that the character Jesus is said to say, or how um, what some people believe is immortality, what Jesus promised people, and in all the texts it's described as ionic life. What is an ion? It could be a negatively or a positively charged atom. And in order to drive these atoms into one position or another, there is what's called atomic um, atomic atom, which indicates that it's an outside force that is driving these ions, like I say, either to be negatively or positively charged, depending on whether you're working with gases or carbon or sodium or whatever. There's a magnetism and like the divine union between a male and a female, that magnetic union is described as like you um, borrow one ionic atom from each, and in a sense it's a little more technical than that, but I'm putting it in the basics of my understanding for people. And so, and those energies can work as one. Okay, let's just say there's a good force and a bad force, and those are the outside um, forces, like a laser beam that can drive these ions. So when Jesus says he promises you ionic life, that is not the same as immortality. That's reoccurring negatively or positive energies that can be used by that outside force in the manner that I've described. And it doesn't have to be just male or female. That's the issues that we're getting in with this religion that's a church that is anti-family. And that's why I'm trying to explain it in chemistry for people. Like if you build people have built plasma thrusters for rockets for about 50 years now, and they're charged ions um, still work from an outside source. It's like the the let me explain it. If you have two elements and you insert another one, those two elements become unstable um, from the original, meaning that um, without the proper outside force, it could either implode or propel something. I hope that made a little bit of sense. I'm going to think a little more on this, on how to explain it, but um, he's not promising people immortality, is what I'm telling you. He's promising you reincarnation, but that doesn't necessarily even mean a body. He's using your energy. He's that outside force, or God is. So anyway, um, hope that made a little bit of sense because the importance of it on who's guiding our lives and um, you can't debate what ionic life means. It's an energy, which could be okay too. I mean, depending on who you're gonna trust. But yeah. Anyway, anyway, there's a lot of people that call on the name of Jesus, and I'm not one of them. I call on God, and even in the scriptures it says you're to seek the face of God. You're not. I mean, yeah, you have been told that Jesus is your not only your savior, but the king over you who judges your soul, that he would have that last word. Better think really deep and hard on that, you know? I mean, anyway, in in a sense, God or Jesus could be described as, well, God's bigger than that, so I can't, Jesus would be described as a gas giant that is trying to collect ions to become a bigger gas giant, you know? One love, people. Yeah, one love. That those ions all coming together and making a more unstable existence for yourself out of lack of knowledge of the true chemistry and the biology that's going on inside our bodies and how this entity controls you or I. So, so that's probably about it for today on that. But, I just wanted to bring it to people's attention that language is, I mean, I've been doing nothing but sharing the proof um, of the language. I mean, when you have a Hebrew scholar and when you have I ran across a Christian priest yesterday that had stopped being a Christian because he learned too much to continue in the farce. Once you actually, and people are going to say, oh, you're Antichrist. No, the Antichrist already came. There's some of us that know the scriptures have already been fulfilled, um, except for that great judgment day, if you believe in that type of thing, you know. But, and there's others that want to string you along and make you believe these are things that are to come when it's already happened, you know. The proof of that is in North America. If you look at the scorched earth situation, all you got to do is drive from, say, like Los Angeles, California, through Death Valley into Arizona, go up into Nebraska, Utah, over into Texas, wherever, South Dakota, you're going to see the landscape has been melted. There's not a, and even um under the glaciers, like in up into Canada and that type of area, there's evidence of molten rock and burning, and I mean you can see there's layers of scorched earth in the geography. Um you can clearly see it. you know, in the geology rather, not geography. So, gee, something. No. Yeah, yeah. Oh, gee, where was I? I'm so lost. Must be them uh, laser particles trying to mess with my ions in there. Anyway, I think it's a plasma thing. It for sure is, actually. Well, yeah. It is how we treat our minds and our bodies. I mean, understanding a little bit of science is really going to help people understand the scriptures too. And that's where I go back to saying, like, Dr. Almond Hillman has it right, looking into the medical texts and the language used in comparison to what the scriptures are, and knowing that what um, the Hebrew came out of the Greek. Once you understand that, and so did English. Once you in all the languages, um, you'll see it so clearly. The stories will make sense. It won't leave you like hanging, like, what are they talking about type of feeling. Mm. Remember I told you that Hebrew was nothing but adding and taking away vowels on a verb? I heard this Hebrew man describe proverbs as proverbs. Wow, talk about rewriting things, professional verbiage. Boy, he had so many clues. It's like, what a honest human being. What a sweet, loving human. That's Ariel Rosenberg. Man, is he a smart cookie. Um, it's his love behind his studies that makes him so intelligent for other people. He rocks. I've ran across some really awesome scholars that will not stop at what mainstream tells them. They're like digging into the philology of the language. They're scientific about it. And that's what you have to be. You have to be an investigator. You have to have a scientific mind to dig into these texts like you're on a case that you're going to solve. If you want to solve something, you can't solve it by um, somebody else's opinion. There has to be the science behind it, the science of the languages. That's the importance of it all. That's why I get angry and I won't shut up about it, because it's people have been used in ways that I mean, when you have an entity that can monkey with your electrons, your electronic ions within yourself, that's a pretty big deal. How could you be used in an electronic way through your plasma in your body? And the three different entities within that, like the three components of a blood cell, um, making that situation unstable because it's not the opposing magnetic force. There's something else in the middle there making that all unstable. That's the flesh we live in. So if you're like a rock, if you're described as a rock or a foundation, why would a certain entity um, reject what is a cornerstone, the base of that situation? One of the bases, like the mom and the dad, then you have the baby, what, rejecting one of them? initially trying to not just disrupt, but eliminate the original energy, collect enough of his own to eliminate you or I in this fleshly design. But once he's got you, if he's got you for thousands of years because you're not scientifically minded at all towards the biology of our beings, he's spiritually got you hooked. You know, it's a big deal, people. Huge, huge deal. You know, and when it comes to love, I'm the most loyal, um, God loving person on the planet. And I'm not going to let this theft of what people call the Christ position fall into nefarious hands without saying something about it, because um, when somebody tries to mess with our Father, well, what do you do? What do you do when somebody's trying to hurt somebody you love? You know? I mean, I suppose you could love the devil. I don't know that that would be a healthy thing for people, but if you want to suck up to that in your flesh, you're really not doing any good for other people in the world, you know? Oh, there was some people on Facebook talking about the changes in the Bible when it like hit America and whatever, like the Schofield Bible that was written in 1859 and that type of thing. And there was people on there arguing and no, that's not so. The Zionists didn't change it and put it into America. Oh yeah, they did. You have your modern evangelists out there trying to recruit people for Jesus, and they're working for the devil because Christ can't be found in the church. The term Christing, I'm sure you've all heard by now, is the act of having one's eyes open, but it's a medical term. In ancient days, they'd use like saliva has different properties, um, curative properties that they would mix with earth and put it on your eyes. Um, and that was the Christing. This is the chemistry of the ancient Greeks that was phenomenal, unsurpassed, still unsurpassed. It's where you get pharmacy from, pharmakia, you know. Um, well, anyway, so that's actually what the term Christ means. It's a medical term. And our biology is what this is all about. Yeah, we have souls. Souls cannot be captured. Just for the record, no matter who says what, it's not a reality. This is as captured as your soul's going to get right now. This is our opportunity to have understanding of what's going on here. Is this a prison for everybody or just one entity? You know? Is it an inheritance? Inherently, it's the Dark Cabal's training ground. They're not doing too good, by the way. if I had to grade their um, dissertation after, if they submitted an essay to me that was their dissertation for their becoming a professor or getting some kind of doctrine, they wouldn't even pass the um, what is it called, the EAGs and SAPs that you take before you can even get into college. They didn't even get that far, unless they cheated. So anyway, that's that's my outlook on their knowledge. I mean, come on. Are you going to tell me, like, for instance, ask President Trump might know, but ask Camilla Harris if she knows what an ion is and what do they constitute? Could it be gaseous? Could it be, is it metallic? Is it um, sodium or hydrogen? Where does it fall in the periodic table, Most of the ions are carbon and sodium based in our existence. But of course we know gases play a part in our existence, such as oxygen and helium and argon and whatever, that type of thing. Yeah, gases are also a part of the periodic table that people need to understand what drives our ions within us. So, and that's how it's used against us too, electronically, digging into the science, you know. So, there's people with charts, there's people with videos and um, showing you the chemistry on charts may not get you to think like me trying to explain it like from one human to another, if you see where I'm going with that. You can sit all day and study different elements on a chart and you might not get as far as what I could just tell you in 10 minutes, you know. I don't know, some of us grew up around chemistry, and chemistry sets were a big thing back in the 60s. I think they were trying to inspire the demonic male entity that was born between um, them and me, for instance. Yeah, trying to get them up to speed in their laboratories before I could get a handle on what everything actually was all about. Yeah, they didn't want that. They don't want it for you either, by the way. So you might be wise to kind of look into actually what ionic life might mean or not mean, and that collection of the minions, one love type of situation. Yeah, because that is not a forever thing. Doesn't have to be, especially for a gas giant. It can explode. Then what do you have? Oh, you might have a white dwarf, perhaps, if it's collected enough particles to have any kind of solid after the explosion. That's a possibility. Or it could dissipate. That's also a possibility. Like the difference between making an atom bomb and a plasma thruster. We have a cold and rainy day here. It's about 55 degrees outside in August. Yeah, it's cold for this time of year. It's okay though. It's better than 105, which is pretty typical for not this summer though. This is not global warming at all. I think the ions in the atmosphere are a bit confused. Yeah. I listen to I'll let you know what it is if I can pull it up. My internet's been a little slow today. Okay. See, where is it? Texas Magi dude had Venus in Virgo by Michael Sutter. He was talking about um, astrology, but it wasn't just astrology. It was oh, he actually was talking a lot of talking points about what's going on in the world, and it was just so interesting. I mean, thinking on the level that like a lot of you or I would in that way. I'm gonna see if I shared it. If I didn't, I'm gonna put it up there for you. Let me see. Checking my community is so interesting. I mean, it even oh, he touches on spirituality. He touches on religion in there too. But let's see. I did share Jesus Freak Mark Edwards leaves Christianity. There's two of them on that panel on myth vision I shared in my community. And I wrote on top, the more we know makes you appear stagnant. And I've known these things all my life and have never changed my mind that there is a loving God. I'm just trying to explain to people that the one that most are praising is not who um, you get your energy from, and that's not where you should be praising. But we have been so brainwashed. Like I said, I cried buckets of tears when I was a kid when I found out that my religion was fake. As well, anyway, I did share this in my community now for you. Venus and Virgo. It's really not just about astrology. I would say you would be wise to listen to it. I found it super interesting. Super interesting. It seemed like it was taken from some older writings that I had ran across in my youth on astrology. Almost the words like verbatim, identical in a lot of ways, which maybe isn't a bad thing. I'm not sure where he drew his information from. I'm sure in his book he probably has, like most good scholars are going to tell you where they got their information from. Like I always try to do, it's like if I bring something here, it's not just what I'm saying, it's somebody else on that same wavelength that tell where they got their information also, you know. And a lot of it, most of it, um, stems back to 1000 BC in Greek. Some of our earliest, like the Septuagint and the Linear A and B's and the Sibyllines and oracles and the different texts that we have from ancient times that the Hebrew scholars borrowed from, changed it, and then the Jesus followers that don't know he was a human trafficker, they just love him. Oh, he hates people. Damn it. You're going to find that out. Maybe too late, but you will find it out one way or another. Going to find out who the devil is. So, anyway. Okay, everybody. I love you. I appreciate you joining me. I'm going to get this uploaded. Hope you're understanding of the unstable, in between character that is trying to become a gas giant like God, that is getting in between of that natural attraction that are the male and the female, in between their natural polarities with a bunch of shit. Okay, anyway, I'll talk to you tomorrow. Appreciate you being here. Peace and love from Pine City, Minnesota, USA. Have a good night or day, wherever you're at.